And now we want to talk about the map. So there's a lot to the map. You're going to click M to bring up your map. Press escape. That way you can move it around. You can also make it smaller or bigger. And there's a few buttons on here you want to know about. So over on the left side, you've got your zoom in, zoom out. You can mouse wheel up and down to zoom in and out. And there's also this button here, which if you click it, it'll actually center on your character. Let's say you're zoomed in over here and you're like, I don't even know where I am. You can click this button and it will lock onto your guy and center around your character. So that's a very useful button. And then what we want to do is we want to click this gear here. Now, this is basically an interactive map. So there's a couple things that we want to know about and do here. Now, we want to kill goblins, right? So I'm going to show you how to find goblins, because that's a pretty common question. How do I find the goblins? I have a goblin task. It's on my tracker. How do I find them? Well, what you got to do is click very easy, because they're a very easy starter mob. Now, you're not going to see them yet. Like, why don't I see them? Well, there's this monster range slider. So as you slide this monster range, zoom out a little bit. As you slide this, it's going to show all of the very easy mobs out from your position. So it expands out, 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 out. You can keep it on max. That's what most people do. But just know that this slider is a thing. And that's why you maybe can't see the mobs. So we're going to have that set. And now you've got all these different mobs, but where are the goblins? Well, there's Sarnax, there's skeleton archers. You know, maybe you don't see the goblins or you're searching for a specific mob. Well, now that you have these two selected, right, you've got your very easy, you've got maxed out slider, you can actually type in goblins, right? And now all we see is goblins. Okay, cool. So now I know where the goblins are. Perfect. So that's going to be my first mob I'm going to want to kill. So that's why I'm searching up goblins. I'm trying to find them. And that's how you're going to do it. So there's also some other buttons here that I'll quickly talk about, but you can kind of mess with these a little bit more. We're going to go ahead and remove the monster types for the moment so we can see a bit better, and remove all these so we can see exactly what we're looking at. So if you click portals, these are wilderness portals. Basically, you go into a wilderness portal and it's gonna teleport you out to the other side. It actually tells you where it's gonna go. It's a general area that it drops you in. You don't have to worry too much about that right now. Dungeons, you go into. Dungeons are non-instance based. So basically the entire map is one server. And when you go into a dungeon, you do teleport down into the dungeon. But let's say you go into the dungeon and Bob, he comes through and also goes into the dungeon. Well, guess what? You're in the dungeon now together. There is no instances. There's just the one instance. So that's how dungeons work. There's plenty of dungeons. You'll see the icons. You've got faction cities, which are going to be your NPC towns. They're basically where you can bind at, where you can live out of, where banks are, NPCs, and whatnot. So in the capital cities, so each of the 6 race lands have capital cities, right? So this is the human lands, the orc lands, the dwarf lands, the Mahiram lands, the elf lands, and the Alfar lands. So they each have a capital city that we'll talk about in a minute. You've got the clan cities. So these are going to be your guild and clan cities that people can go and they can claim and they can take over the cities from other clans. You've got cities and hamlets. So cities are the bigger cities and hamlets are going to be those smaller towns. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about these for the moment. Rune glyphs, I'm not going to talk about right now, and we'll look into that a little bit later. And then we got villages. So Villages are where houses are going to be. So there's a housing system, and you can own a house, and you can also recall to your house as well, kind of like the Bindstone recall we talked about. You'll have a separate house recall. Now, villages have a timer, and they can be taken over and captured, basically, for resources. So every time the timer comes up, like this one's about to come up in 35 minutes. So you can go there, and it's kind of like a domination game. There's 3 points, and you take over the points, and you gain points. And when you hit 1200, you get the resources from that village. And that's how those work. And you can get a house, and you can have a, basically it's like a little mini local bank in your house, a little safe that you can store items in. Now, banking in general is global, but for houses, it's local. So that means it's only there. You won't be able to see it anywhere else other than in that specific safe. Now, the last thing I want to talk about on the map is tile rating. Now, what is this? What am I looking at? So I'm going to close this gear. Basically, there's 3 areas on the map. So the whole map is broken up into these tiles, and all of the red is lawless zones. So all this red here, this donut, and the center of the donut here is also red. And basically, what lawless means is you can attack anybody at any time, anywhere in this game, but in the lawless zones, you don't lose alignment for attacking players. So that's one thing with lawless. And also in lawless zones, it's full loot. You drop everything in your bag, everything on your character, and everything on your paper doll, and everything in your bag. So you drop literally everything on you in the red zones. Now, in the yellow zones, these are lawful areas. So in the yellow zones, you drop everything in your bag, and you don't drop anything on your paper doll. So I'll kind of quickly show you what that might look like. So we'll bring up our paper doll and our bag. So if I was in a yellow zone, I would drop everything in my bag, but I would not drop anything on this right here, this paper doll. So your currently equipped weapon, your arrows, your gear, and your mount. So as long as this is in your paper doll, whatever gear and weapon you have, if you die, you won't drop any of this. But if you die, you will drop anything in your bag right here, your backpack. Now your loot bag is also isn't part of your paper doll. This row right here is not part of your paper doll. It's actually just your currently equipped weapon, so they will be able to loot your loot bag, whatever's in there, and your backpack. Now if we go back to the map, that's the lawful areas. Now in lawful areas, the alignment system works a little bit differently. So the alignment system is down here. This is your alignment bar. And basically, blue characters, you start off blue, are lawful characters. So what that means is basically you can live out of any of the NPC cities that we showed earlier. And we can actually bring those back up. So you can live out of any of these cities. And these cities have towers that will automatically zap players that are criminals, right? If they're red, they're criminals. And if you're a criminal, you don't get to live out of these cities here on the map that are showing right now. So you don't get to live out of them. You can obviously still be in these areas, just not inside these cities. So that's one benefit of being a lawful player. There's a few more benefits of it. And basically these lawful areas, let's say you're a blue player and you attack another blue player in a lawful area. Well, guess what? If you kill them, you lose alignment, right? Because you're in a lawful area. So losing alignment could potentially make you go red. And now you're a criminal, so you don't get to live in these cities, right? So alignment gains naturally, slowly over time. but also there are chaos cities where you can go and pray for gold, 2,000 gold, I believe, and that will increase your alignment and get you on your way back to being a lawful player. Now, there's one other zone here that is the blue zones. So the blue zones is basically you don't drop anything. You don't drop your bag, and you don't drop your paper doll items. You literally don't drop any items when you die in the blue zone. So this is basically the safe zone. And as long as you're in here, then you don't drop any items. Now, there is some exceptions to these zones. So, if you're a criminal, a red player, then you drop all of your items everywhere on the map. Doesn't matter if you're in a blue zone, or a yellow zone, or a red zone. Now, there is another third alignment, and it's a temporary alignment. And basically, let's say you're a blue player, a lawful player, and you're in this lawful zone, and maybe you venture into the red zone. Well, you're going to gain a temporary alignment, which is rogue. And that's basically, it'll be gray here on your bar. And what that is essentially you're temporarily attackable, right? So because this is a lawless zone, players aren't going to lose alignment by killing you in a lawless zone because there's no laws. So let's say you're a blue player, you venture into the red zone, now you're rogue, so you're attackable without alignment loss. Now another blue player could come into the zone and you two could fight and kill each other, and neither of you would lose alignment because you're in a lawless zone. And you're freely able to without alignment loss. So same goes with the red player. They could kill you and not lose alignment. And that's basically what rogue is. So now let's say you're in the red zone as a blue player, you're rogue, and you go back into the lawful zone. Well, it's going to take a certain amount of time. I'm not sure the exact amount of time, but let's just say a few minutes for you to go back to being blue. Because the game, you can't just automatically hop over into the lawful zone and instantly become blue. You're going to have that temporarily rogue alignment for the time being. So let's say you're running away from a player out of the red zone into the yellow zone, and they're chasing you, and they hit you in the lawful zone while you're rogue. It's going to continue that rogue timer if you take damage. So you have to fully get away. And the rogue status, let's say you run into this lawful zone as rogue, and you end up dying in the lawful zone. Well, hey, I should keep my items, right? No, you actually don't. You do lose all your items because you're technically rogue, which is essentially a temporary criminal status, you could say. So that's kind of how the different zones and alignments work generally. There can be some more nuance there, but generally that's how it works. And again, you can be killed anywhere in this entire game. Just because there's lawful zones or blue zones does not mean that you can't be attacked. People can still attack and kill you, but they might pay the price alignment-wise. You might not lose, all your items, or you might lose some of your items, right? Like we talked about, depending on the zone. But again, you can be attacked anywhere and killed anywhere in this game. So nowhere is safe in Darkfall, so keep that in mind. So there's one other thing I want to talk about that I forgot to mention with the map. Let's say we want to go kill some goblins, which we are soon about to do. Trust me, we're getting there. We're getting there. We have a few more things to get through before we get to the goblins. But let's say we want to go kill some goblins. Well, we see the goblin spawns. We might want to search for goblins again, right? Let's say we want to go to this goblin spawn. Well, I'm going to hover over the mob spawn. Oh, it's actually... Okay. Well, let me check something. So usually, okay, it's not. Oh, there it goes. So usually when you hover over a mob spawn, you're gonna get a list like this. You're gonna get the mob spawn amount. So it's gonna have the name Greater Bellow, and there's 2 of them. So there's gonna be 2 of those mobs. And it's gonna give you the common loot. Now there's more loot than just what's listed, but this is just a common loot that is gonna drop regularly. Now the rare loot, they don't tell you. You're gonna have to farm the mob and find out for yourself, or get information from other players, Discord, online, that kind of thing. You'll have to kind of figure that out as you go. But the common loot, obviously, you can see and find. It's not gonna tell you how much, but it's gonna give you a good idea on what loot you're looking for and what mobs drop what loot. Now, one other thing you want to keep in mind is you can check, let's say we check all of these boxes for the moment. And let's say, I don't know, I'm trying to find hearts for crafting, right? Maybe I need hearts for some reason, right? So what mobs drop hearts? You can actually type in heart. So whatever loot you're looking for, you type it in. You got to be sure it's accurate. Sometimes you have to type it in without spaces, that kind of thing. So I'm going to hover over. And where is heart? Heart. Centaur hearts. There we go. Cool. Okay. Now there's different kinds of hearts, but you get my point. You can type in what the loot you're looking for, and you can see what mobs drop that loot that you're looking for. That's another cool feature about the map. So rune glyphs are essentially bind stones, where you can check this box here on your map called rune glyphs. And when you're at a rune glyph, you walk up to it, you click the use key, and you're gonna have to have a rune stone on you. Currently, I don't have a rune stone, but you're gonna get a little pop-up window, kind of like the bank, and it's basically gonna say use runebook, and you're gonna click that, and then essentially what will happen is your runestone will get taken away, and then in your rune book, you are now gonna have a basically a runestone recall to the rune glyph bindstone location, right? So it's going to show up here, 2 portal charges per charge, and your rune book does not drop on death. So that is how the rune glyphs work. And now you have this permanent marked location, and you just charge up your rune book to now recall to this rune glyph. So that'll teleport you to the rune glyph, wherever you have these marked here in your rune book. And again, you need 1 rune stone to put into your rune book to mark. But just be sure you have a blank rune stone in your backpack, and you walk up to the rune glyph, you press use, and use rune book. And that's how the rune glyphs work. So now that I've marked it, I can now recall to Obad using my rune book, and that'll use a charge on your rune book. That's how the rune glyphs work on the map. So that's going to be it for the map guide. Feel free to go down below and hit the like button or subscribe for more videos. We'll see you next time.